Into your Wednesday, everyone. Jason and Alicia here with you as we kick off another warm morning here in the Twin Cities.
It's hard to believe, but a lot of kids are actually going to be walking to school today. It's something that MnDOT has been encouraging because of the bus staffing shortages. And it's just going to be nice today, John. They do this every year, but I think this is going to be the best year to do it.
I know, it's clear and 40, kiddos, so kind of just like a light coat or a sweatshirt and jeans, very non-winter-like, more fall or spring. 40 degrees out, I mean, it's 40. If this is our low, if this was the high, it'd still be warm, right? 39 in St. Cloud, 40 in Marshall, 37 even in Jackson. So we're all above freezing right now. And you can see the warm front coming through. So I'd like to show you the warm front. You can see it, strong south wind. You see where it kind of goes back here. That's your warm front. That's why it's not going to be as warm up here. The reason you can stay this warm in the morning is the strong wind. Anytime that wind doesn't drop below 10 out of the south, you're not cooling down and you're going to just warm up. There are some days where you don't really need sunshine because your low is strong enough. Today is that day. Look at the winds. Winds are stronger. It's not a gorgeous day, but we'll be well into the 50s. Record-breaking heat, if you want to call it that. We'll track a chance at a rumble of thunder in your forecast.
John, thanks. 6:02 as you're gearing up to head out the door this morning. All green on the map. We had one reported crash on 55, but it cleared here a matter of minutes ago. No other crashes to report at this time.
Well, a piece of Minnesota history is burned to the ground. Just 24 hours ago, we learned a massive fire destroyed Lutsen Lodge. Right after our Sunrise show wrapped up yesterday morning, we got the word about that devastating fire.
And still this morning, it's hard to believe one of the most iconic vacation spots in our state is gone. Cece's here now with how the day unfolded yesterday. Hey, Cece.
Hey, good morning. Yeah, just a very sad outcome for a piece of North Shore history. This morning, we know two things. We know that fire officials are still investigating the cause of the fire, and we also know that there are plans in place to rebuild the Lutsen Lodge with the blueprints from 1951, but there's no word on how long that could take. So let's get into what happened. Officials tell us this started just before 12:30 yesterday morning. A couple of calls came in saying that there was smoke and then eventually flames over at the lodge. At least 8 fire departments came in to try and stop the fire, but as you see there wasn't much they could do once they did get there. Thankfully, no one was inside, no injuries to report. The general manager says even though the building's gone, they're not going anywhere.
It has to get put back, and the memories have to start over again. So we've had 125 years of memories. We're going to start with new ones, and that's what I'm looking forward to.
So I mentioned earlier that there were no guests staying at the lodge when the fire broke out, but people did have reservations this week. So now staff has to start reaching out to those people and try to help them find different plans. But reaction about this fire still coming in this morning. A lot of people talking about going up there for skiing, weddings. So I'll have reaction in 30 minutes.
It's remarkable that no one was there. I mean, no
Right.
guests, no staff, but people were planning, like you said, to check in. It's just crazy. All right, Cece, thanks.
Well, less than an hour from now, activists in Minneapolis will take action demanding the city council override the mayor's veto of the Gaza ceasefire resolution. Our Michelle Beck is live explaining what they have planned. Michelle, good morning.
Yeah, so we are standing by at this hour waiting for those protesters just to start arriving here. And it's why your morning commute may be impacted. It may look a little differently if you will be traveling on 35 West. Just behind me, this is the highway where protesters say they'll be out here with signs in support of their message. Well, organizers with the Free Palestine Coalition say they'll be coming with those signs as a show of solidarity for Palestine. And as you can see in this video, this topic has generated a lot of interest recently from concerned citizens. They packed meetings, and protest organizers hope they'll do so again at tomorrow's city council meeting. That's where council members could vote to override action from the mayor. Remember, Mayor Jacob Frey vetoed the ceasefire resolution, which the city council supported in hopes of ending U.S. military aid to Israel. The mayor previously explaining he wants a ceasefire but doesn't think the council's resolution recognizes the history of Israeli Jews. Now, about 24 hours ago, we told you about a similar activity happening over in the St. Paul side. We know that similar calls for change, similar calls for a ceasefire resolution have been happening there. We know this afternoon a city council meeting will be held possibly to discuss that resolution. Guys?
All right, Michelle, back reporting live for us. Thank you. In just over 8 hours, a hearing will begin for a Benton County man charged with multiple counts of attempted murder. Now, you might remember back in October, Sherburne County Drug Task Force officers were trying to execute a search warrant of 64-year-old Carl Holmberg's home. Prosecutors say he then shot and wounded 5 of those officers, telling his wife it was his day to die. Holmberg is also facing a dozen felony charges. Today's hearing begins at 1:15.
In just 24 hours, an important meeting for the city of Falcon Heights and its residents. It all involves the future of policing in that community. Here's a breakdown of that situation.
I'm Gordon Severson. The city of Falcon Heights is looking for a new police department. Their contract with the Ramsey County Sheriff's Office will expire at the end of the year, and they're looking to St. Anthony Village as a possible partner. The two communities will meet on Thursday to discuss the idea. Now, the two communities did have a partnership in place for policing for many years, up until about 2017. That's shortly after the shooting death of Philando Castile, which did involve an officer from St. Anthony Village.
We've learned another hospital in Minnesota plans to stop delivering babies. Mayo Clinic says it will officially start diverting deliveries on Friday from its New Prague campus to nearby hospitals. Data shows this is the 24th hospital in the state to stop delivering babies in the last decade, including in Albert Lea, Hastings, and Lake City. A pattern experts say can impact death rates for moms and infants in rural areas and is being caused in part by falling birth rates and staffing shortages.
We know greater Minnesota communities are dealing with. And frankly, unless the concerns that underlie these reasons for closures are addressed, I do expect that we will continue to see this.
Mayo Clinic calls a decision difficult and says it will transfer patients to its Mankato campus or to other hospitals that are closer in Shakopee and in Faribault.
We're tracking a big development involving those recalled applesauce pouches that had lead in them. Ecuador officials believe they found the source, a ground cinnamon processor, which is no longer being used. However, it's not clear how it got into the cinnamon. One FDA official believes it was an intentional act, saying some suppliers try to bulk up food by weight by adding in things like lead. So far, the CDC says more than 400 kids in the U.S. have elevated blood lead levels linked to that applesauce. Well, if you're getting to the grocery store today and you use self-checkout, listen up. Credit card thieves have found a new way to steal your information through those machines. Police in Rochester believe they recently found 2 credit card skimmers at self-checkout lanes at 2 large retailers. Several other cities are seeing a similar trend, including Boston and New York. So police say a good tip is to wiggle the card reader a little bit. If something feels loose and off, there are parts sticking out, it may have been tampered with.
Right now, there's a new proposal to speed up the process to sell recreational marijuana in Minnesota. In a report to lawmakers, the Office of Cannabis Management recommends changes for dispensary applications, including a temporary license system that would get things up and running faster. They also propose cutting requirements they say would bog down the licensing process. Those recommendations still need to be approved by lawmakers during the legislative session. Right now, the application process to get a cannabis license opens next year.
Next stop, Fort Myers. The Twins truck appears to be on the way to Florida for spring training. 1 week from now, pitchers and catchers reports. Then their first Major League spring training game is Saturday the 24th. And on the 23rd, they'll play their traditional game against the U of M. So baseball is so close. And why go to Florida when you have Minnesota, right, John? Just stay around here for spring training.